Hi guys, this is Yelena from Amazonia PPC. In today's video, we're going to talk all about the bullet points. Things we're going to cover in this video are what are bullet points and how you should use them. What are some specific guidelines on how to write the bullet points so that they are following Amazon's terms of service. Things to avoid. Also, we're going to cover some of the tips for copywriting and how to improve readability of your bullet points. And I'm going to show you one good and one bad example in this video. So there's going to be a lot of value hidden in this video. We're inviting you to stay through the end and learn a lot. So let's dive right into this. Bullet points, these are also known as key product features. They are the first next thing that comes after the product titles. And product titles are there to basically drive traffic to the listing, but when it comes to bullet points, that they are here to help your customers learn more about the product. Amazon introduced bullet points after doing very extensive year-over-year research, and they actually found out that people are not reading all this information. They're rather skimming through the page. So an average customer's attention span is between 15 and 30 seconds per page. So that's all you get in time-wise, so that you can drive attention of your customer, and you should make the most out of it. So bullet points as such actually are very helpful in this, simply because you get the chance to sort of like focus on what exactly the feature or the benefit of the product is, and just make sure you're very clear about it so that they can actually within a matter of seconds know what they need to know, what you want, the message that you want to transfer over to them. So bullet points, like Amazon officially does not confirm that they actually take into account that this affects the organic ranking of your listing. But a lot of experts have tested a lot of examples. It actually shows that their organic ranking has moved up in the search results page right after they started implementing keywords to their bullet points. So that being said, it actually some kind of general rule of thumb in the practice is that it does affect your ranking, and you should put keywords in your bullet points. So a lot of users skim through the content, so this is something to keep in mind. And also around 70% of Amazon's users are actually they're using mobile devices to browse through the products. And this is something to keep in mind when you optimize your bullet points, that they also have to be optimized for mobile. That's another thing to keep in mind. As a rule of thumb, you get to have, as a seller in Seller Central, you get to have 5 bullet points, and each one is limited down to 100 characters each. And usually that's their general recommendation. And when you're typing in your product listing, you get a 100 character limit, and that's all it gets indexed. You can put more characters in it, up to 1,000. So some of the experts actually recommend using up to 200 characters per bullet point, and there's actually 5 of them, and that makes a total of 1,000 characters. That's a lot of space. So keep in mind that if you stuff these bullet points with a lot of words in them, that this is actually going to be like counterproductive even, because not a lot of users are going to read this. So keep in mind to keep it short, concise, to the point, and just showing features and benefits of the product as well as problem it solves and things like that. You should begin each bullet point with capitalized letters. Like in this example over here, they are capitalized. So you don't have to read everything else, because you will understand from these capitalized letters what the rest of the text is all about. So that's a very good recommendation in terms of readability. And what you should not include is promotional information. So basically, when you are like collecting ideas what you should write in your bullet points, then you should think all about mentioning the features and the benefits of the product. I already mentioned this, but basically an example, this would sound like, entering what material something was made from or what it contains. Like in this case, it contains fatty acids, so that's important for someone to know. Also, what age it's appropriate, for what age it's appropriate, and also the material it was made, and what kind of, skill level it takes for someone to use such a product, and who it was made for, where it was made from, the country of origin. Like in this case, it was probably made in the USA. So make sure that you are utilizing information about the product, around the product, not around the brand itself or anything like in general, but be as specific as possible. Like if your product has a very important size dimensions, then make sure that you mention what size it is, and what the possible applications of that might be. Like for example, 10-inch sinks would be applicable for RVs. That would be a very good example where you would mention a size and you would mention a benefit of that size, where a possible customer can use this particular product. So when it comes to the rule of thumb of using bullet points, then this would be definitely something to focus on, which is the information about the product, more specific information, something that users don't want to bother reading, but something that would be, in front of them, that they can notice right away. So that being said, those are things to do. But when it comes to things to not do, things to avoid, you should definitely avoid using any kind of exclamation marks, hyphens, things that are unreadable, like symbols, something that's not very easy, or clean text. So stay away from symbols like that. Don't be vague. Instead of that, be very, very specific what the product is about. Why is it so why is it so specific, and what's your unique selling proposition of the product? Don't use company specific information. Like, I don't know, a bad example would be when someone would mention that it's 100% money back guarantee for the product, and you mention that in the bullet point. That should be somewhere in the product description, maybe, or in the enhanced branded content, but not in the bullet points. Bullet points are here to help you understand what this product is about, like general specific information about the product, and not company specific information. So that's another tip, to something to avoid. And also, a very bad practice is to overstuff your bullet points with keywords, with uppercase words, letters, and stuff like that. So you want to make it clean, easy to read. You want to make it concise. You want to help your customers understand what kind of problem this product solves. Don't go too vague in your description. Be as specific as possible, because exactly this section of the product listing is something that where customers expect to read information about the product. So if you write them company specific stuff or something like general and vague, they won't find it relevant and they will bounce right off of your listing. So this is definitely something you don't want to achieve. Also, I mentioned that I wanted to share with you some tips to improve readability. Basically, as we all understand, 70% of Amazon customers are mobile users, so you have to optimize for mobile readability. Obviously, on the mobile, when you're scrolling through the listings, you only get to see the first 70 characters of each bullet point, and in some of the cases. So make sure that you don't use too little letters, but also don't use too much. Just keep in mind to keep your sentences concise so that they're also optimized for mobile and only containing essential information in them. Also, make sure to improve readability of your listing, of your bullet points, write numbers as numerals. For example, you will write 1 as a numeral instead of writing it in words. simply because it helps the brain to understand what the size actually is, or whether there's a certain number of units involved in a set or something like that. So write your numbers as numerals, and also when it comes to measurements like inches, centimeters, feet, and stuff like that, write that as a word, because that's what scientifically was proven. It was tested that it works actually best and improves readability. Also, one of these really good tips for copywriting would be like, for example, if you have 10 keywords that are core keywords and you use 4 of them in your product title, then you should use the rest for your bullet points. This will increase your organic ranking, contrary to what Amazon actually officially says. So make sure to use it, but not like overstuff it with keywords, because that's where you're going to achieve the counter effect. So make your bullet points skimmable. Make your bullet points skimmable. That is also one of the most particular tips for bullet points optimization. Basically, to make your bullet points skimmable, this is really helpful. Using these uppercase letters, like in this example here, just like get your point out there and then explain it later in the later part that comes after it. So that will highlight the main point of each bullet point, and then you can explain the rest if someone has the time to read that. But you want to grab their attention and get the message across within a matter of seconds, in which usually these capitalized bullet points are very, very helpful. So you should definitely think of using that. Also, like in this example, you should emphasize on solving the customer's problem. Like, for example, here in this bullet point, we have reduce pain, inflammation, and improve your mental health, which is a clear example of how a pain point is being solved by this product. And this is being mentioned in the bullet point description. So make sure to use this. This is a very good example of bullet point optimization, because it is full of keywords such as, this example is a hemp oil extract. So it has keywords such as hemp oil, organic. So let me see what else there is. Quality sleep is also a very common pain point. Relieving anxiety, stress. A lot of people are searching for stress relief online, so this is a keyword as well. Enhanced brain function. Mental health is also something that's commonly connected to hemp oil. Lower inflammation, also joint pain, that a lot of users are using it for. So all of these, keywords that are maybe even transitional words, they're not so much core keyword. The core keyword would be hemp oil. That would be something you 100% need to have in your product title. But when it comes to everything else that are, benefits and pain points of someone using this product, who needs to use this product, then you should put that in the bullet points. This is also a very good example because it explains that this is a premium oil, that no artificial ingredients are in there. You're not putting your health at risk. So that's another pain point being solved. Then the second bullet point says the benefit. They actually stress out the benefit of using this product. What will you get? The third bullet point, it explains what the content of this little bottle is. So omega-3, 6, and 9 fatty acids, which is something that improves your mental health. So that's number 3. They actually are describing what is inside of the product. So if this was a product that has different sizes, then it would be very important for them to write what size specifically it is, how many centimeters, how many inches. If this is a product that solves a health problem, then this is what they are stressing out. They're stressing out the active ingredient that's in charge of providing these health benefits to someone using it. So the fourth bullet point in this very good example is obviously targeting pain points, like people who have pain, like joint pain, inflammation, and have some issues with mental health. They use a lot of hemp oil, so they are targeting exactly these pain points, which usually when people are have some health problems, and this is a very very extreme pain point. So that's what they are mentioning. Also, they're using origin unique selling proposition, which means they mention where was this actually made from, and what it was made of, and so many things that they mentioned that someone would actually believe that this is a very, very trustworthy listing. So anything else that might help improve their conversion rate on the page might be social proof, and things like customer reviews and answered questions, something that will, help customers decide that this is a very trustworthy brand. But when it comes to the bullet points, I believe that these are perfectly optimized, and that this would be a very good example. On the contrary, we have a not so good example, like, let's analyze. At the first glance, these bullet points are straight to the point. You don't have to spend a lot of time reading them, but at the same time, they're just too short. In terms of this specific listing, not actually shining trust. Basically, you should build trust and show up as a trustworthy brand, and have all of your listings optimized as, showing as trustworthy listings that someone can purchase from you and be 100% safe. So I absolutely appreciate that they're down to the point with their bullet points, but not that much, not that short, simply because they're just a little bit over the edge when it comes to optimization. So same method is being applied here. They are mentioning that this is obtained from grains, that this is origin from Canada, that this was made from cannabis sativa, and what the extraction method was. Someone might find it very important. This was a cold press oil, and also refined type, but definitely missing the point in terms of this listing, and missing the point in terms of customer satisfaction, in terms of user experience. And this is something that made this listing actually show up on the 5th page of the search results. And the first example that I've shown you actually showed up on the first page. And there is a vast difference. I'm not saying that this only came from the bullet points, but it actually did help a lot, obviously, because it's building a much, much more trustworthy feeling around the whole product listing. So, to summarize, what you need to do when you are starting to write your own bullet points, basically keep it straight to the point, but not that short, that concise. Make sure to use keywords in your bullet points. Make sure to emphasize on the benefits of using the product. Also target the pain points of someone who might be triggered by these pain points to buy the product. Make sure to emphasize the features of the product, such as size, dimensions, color might be also relevant, contents, active ingredients, whatever is specific to your product, then be sure to mention it. Also, be sure to make your bullet points product specific instead of company specific or generalized or vague. You don't want that. You want the bullet points to be concise and strictly speaking about the product itself. And make sure to write all of that under, let's say, 100 characters if possible. If not, then make sure to make it as short as possible, but still maintain a certain style and the messaging around which you want to build your whole brand. I hope this helps. If you have any questions for us, be sure to write them in the comment section, and also be sure to use the style guides that are category specific that Amazon recommends, so that you know exactly what ideas you might get some useful ideas from them, because they have been doing this for years and no one beats them at customer experience. So also this might be a very useful tip for you to use category specific style guides that are on official page of Seller Central, which we will share as a link in our video description. Thank you for watching, and take care.